Hey everyone, hey Brian Neff here with Retirement Hustle. Hope everyone's New Year's taking off well. Today's video, we're going to cover what's inside this 5,593 page bill that details the Payroll Protection Program and support for small businesses. And if you look below, you'll see the link to this in the messages below this video. And it looks like it starts at page 2042 of this bill that really starts talking about the Payroll Protection Program and small business support. So let's get started. Okay. We're not going to go through this line item by line item. What we was able to find is on the house.gov website under small business is a breakdown of each one of these sections, and that's what we're going to cover today. So let's get started. This bill is called the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues. And this covers each one of the sections inside the small business bill. We're going to highlight the most prominent sections that really pertain to you today. So let's get started. What I like here in Section 3, Emergency Rulemaking Authority. This requires the SBA administrator to establish regulations to carry out this title no later than 10 days after enactment of this title. So what this means is this bill was signed by the president, and from the day that it was signed, we have 10 days, and it does not say if it's calendar days or not. But the bill was signed on Monday, the 28th. 10 days takes us to this Wednesday, January 6th. So stay tuned. We should start seeing information roll out of the SBA before Wednesday on how to apply for the PPP program and the second round. So stay tuned for that. Section 4. Inside the bill, there's some additional expenses that are now eligible that were not eligible first in the first round of the PPP program. And some of these expenses that you're allowed to write off are covered operating expenditures such as software, cloud computing, human resources, and accounting needs. Think about our businesses today that have taken a virtual world and using tools like Zoom and the cloud software programs and Fiverr and all these other companies, it looks like we're now able to write these off. Also in this bill, which we're not hearing a lot about, covered property damage cost. How many of you know some small businesses that had property damage due to public disturbances that occurred during 2020 that were not covered by insurance? We've seen it all over the media, the riots in the streets, the disturbances all over the country, and how many small businesses were burnt down or broken into, and their insurances didn't cover maybe for riot control, so now you're able to write off them costs inside there. Again, we're not hearing a lot about this, but it's out there inside this bill. Covered supplier cost, supplies, purchase orders, contracts, they're now covered. Also worker protective equipment, so the personal protective equipment, you've seen PPP all the time mentioned. So now that is now covered inside there. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so this allows retroactive. You can go back to, remember before you weren't able to write off a lot of these expenses in the first PPP program. Now you're able to inside this bill. So hold harmless. This section covers the lender, protects the lender from fraudulent activity that people have signed up for these loans that didn't deserve the loans or fraudulently. It basically is protecting the lender in this circumstance. Section 6 covers a period for forgiveness. Remember before when the PPP program first came out, it was you had to use 8 weeks of your salary. And that was basically, you had to pay yourself for 8 weeks to continue the program. Well, this allows you to select anywhere from 8 weeks up to 24 weeks after the origination of the loan. So, simplified application. The new application is supposed to be simple, easy to use, and small business friendly. We will see. I haven't seen the new application yet because I know the previous process was pretty complicated. But it also, for loans under 150,000, if you got the previous PPP program, a borrower shall receive forgiveness if a borrower signs and submits to the lender a certification that is not more than 1 page in length. So it talks about the forgiveness part of the PPP program. Basically, it's telling the SBA you have to make a 1-page forgiveness application. And basically, you as the small business owner must certify that the information you provided was correct. Now, here's another guideline for the SBA. They've got 24 days from the signing of the bill to enact this and have the material out there to us as small business owners to be able to get the forgiveness. And so that would take it to January 20th is when that will be. So by the January 20th, we'll have that out there. So demographics, the Senate, okay, so there's a section, the Senate and House Small Business Committees must report 45 days after enactment, a program to review and forgiveness audit plan. So they will be auditing it, and there was funds put inside this bill to pay for that also. Let's see, Section 8 covers group insurance. Specific group insurance allows to be included in payroll costs moving forward. And that also includes the previous loans if you get the first round of PPP. Demographic information, let's keep on scrolling down. Okay, a lot of questions been coming in about the Payroll Protection Program second draw loans. This is round 2. And a maximum of $2 million for smaller and harder hit businesses. Now, there's some eligibility requirements that are different from the first round of PPP. Okay, let's look at them here. Not more than 300 employees in your small business. Remember, before it was not more than 500, so they lowered that. You've basically got to say that you've used or will use the full amount of the first PPP program. Have you used all of the first loan that you received? Or will you? You've got to declare that. Here's the key, though. You've got to demonstrate at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts for the first, second, or third quarter of 2020 relative to the same 2019 quarter. So what they're saying is, did you receive a 25% reduction in gross receipts, income coming into your business in the first 3 quarters of 2020 compared to the first 3 quarters of 2019. You got to show a 25% reduction. Now, a lot of questions in a lot of chat boards out there. Okay, Brian, how do I show this? What do I do? Well, first thing, the easiest thing to do is go pull up your bank statements. I did an example on an Excel spreadsheet the other day, and I was able to go into my Chase business account and download all my expenses and all the revenue that came into the account. So you could just do the revenue coming in for a 2-year period and do it by quarter. And you can use and show a comparison of what you did. Did you or did you not have a 25% reduction? It's that simple. You just have to be able to prove it, folks. Let's see. Also, must be businesses, nonprofits, housing co-ops, veteran organizations, tribal, self-employed individuals and sole proprietors, independent contractors. You're all included in this also. Ineligible entities, there's a list of them. Loan terms, again, virtually the same as before, 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost. No loan can be greater than $2 million. Let's see. Oh, here's one thing. The accommodation and food service industry can receive loans up to 3.5 times the average monthly payroll cost, compared to 2.5% for the rest of us. If you have multiple locations, you can sign up for the loans at different locations as in separate loans for each one, as long as there's less than 300 employees per physical location. Okay, loan forgiveness. Borrowers of a PPP second draw loan would be eligible for loan forgiveness equal to the sum of their payroll cost, again, as before, but now you get to write off them additional expenses that we just talked about. So you get to pull out them additional property damages, supplier cost, PPP, PPE expenditures that you used. Lenders, lender compensation, 50 basis points, up to $2,500 for loans under $50,000, and then a 5% fee between loans of $50,000 and $350,000. Above $350,000, the lender fee will be 3% of the loan proceeds. Okay, let's see if we can scroll down to, let's see, also included in here is specific stuff for churches and religious organizations. Let's scroll down to, oh, okay. Here's an ability, Section 12 covers an ability for PPP borrowers to request an increase in loan amount due to updated regulations. This is important because let's take, for example, let's say you were self-employed over here in one business, but you also had your LLC over here, and maybe you were a partnership in that, okay? Before, you had to choose one or the other. You could only use the income from the LLC or income from the self-employment, okay? But the problem is, let's say your income was $50,000 over here in the LLC and $50,000 over here in the sole proprietor. You could only use one or the other. Now you can go back and update that information and show them the total. You just couldn't, you weren't allowed to take a loan for an LLC and a sole proprietor if you were an LLC as a partnership. So again, more information is going to come out on this in the coming days. Stay tuned to the channel for these updates. There's sections for farm credit, seasonal employers, housing co-ops. We're going to scroll through this pretty quickly. I really want to get to the, inside here, it was the first time before, news organizations are now allowed to get loans as long as they're not like a virtual broadcaster, like an internet-based. Let's see, 501c3 organizations are also available. No use of the loan proceeds for lobbying activities. If you were, let's say your business went kaput during all this and you were in the middle of a bankruptcy, there is provisions allowing you to go back to the PPP to hopefully try to get you out of the bankruptcy. Stay tuned for more information on that also. Conflicts of interest, this is kind of funny. Requires the president, vice president, head of any executive department, or a member of Congress, as well as their spouse that has received a PPP loan to disclose the status at forgiveness or 30 days thereafter. It would also prohibit them from receiving a loan in the future. That's kind of funny because you heard a lot in the media about that. So let's see. Here's the amount of the appropriations inside this $284 billion additional for the PPP. Lenders, $15 billion for small lenders, community banks, for them to be able to lend it out. Let's see, for borrowers, $35 billion for first-time borrowers, $15 billion of which is for small first-time borrowers with 10 or more and fewer employees. SBA has to set aside these, $25 million for small businesses, minority business development centers. Stay tuned for that. $50 million for PPP auditing and fraud mitigation. So if you think you're going to pull something on these guys, look, they've got a whole section, $50 million worth of salary money going to an auditing and fraud mitigation to make sure that this money is being spent the right way. This is very important. Stay tuned for this. We'll have a separate video on this targeted EIDL Advance Program. This is the Economic Injury Development Loan Program that was out. Remember, they talked about the EIDL grants up to $10,000 per business. And then they changed the rules and it went back to $1,000 per person, per employee. And so like many small businesses may have got $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever, based on their employees, they didn't get the full $10,000. Well, there's an additional $20 billion inside of this program, inside this bill, designated for that. Stay tuned for that because we'll have a separate video talking specifically about that, especially as the SBA rolls this out. There's a provision inside there that if you got a EIDL grant or advance in the previous round, so after this was announced in about April of last year, and you didn't get the full $10,000, there's a way for small businesses through this to go back and request the additional. Let's say you get $2,000, request the additional amount, which would be $8,000, up to the $10,000 limit. So stay tuned for that. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, inside the Section 24 talks about shuttered venue operations. So think about the theaters, the performing arts, museum operators, all them guys that were shut down during this. There's grants of up to $15 billion for grants for these venues. Relief program, and scrolling through here. We're getting close to the end here. Let's see what it really covers. Okay, so let's go. Here's some more on the EIDL Advance. Inside here, they're making X amount of dollars going towards low-income communities. So, and there's a map. There's on a website, and I'll find that and try to drop that into the links below also. There's a map to see if your business is inside one of these low-income communities that could actually qualify for these targeted EIDL advances for small business. Again, up to the $10,000 inside there. Same thing as the emergency grant, EIDL grants. Oh, remember before on the EIDLs, they talked about when you signed up for them, the SBA had 3 days to either approve your loan, deny your loan, and also give you this grant. Well, it used to be 3 days. They've extended that to 21 days to give them more time to analyze the information that you have sent them. Oh, also before, you were required, if you got the PPP loan, you were required to deduct the advance from the amount of your forgiveness. So if you got a $50,000 loan and you got the $10,000 grant, you had to deduct the $10,000 grant if you got your whole loan forgiven, which means that $10,000 went as income for you on your taxes. That is now forgiven now, and you don't have to worry about paying the taxes on that amount. Let's see, seasonal employees, we're almost done here. Oh, no publicly traded company is eligible for the new rounds of the PPP. Thank goodness. We heard all the horror stories of these big corporations getting the PPP while small businesses weren't getting their part of it. So cover period, that's all the same. Okay, that looks like about it, folks, of this long bill that they just passed, continue the Paycheck Protection Program and small business support. Hey, again, sorry it took so long today. I really wanted to make sure that we covered a lot of that. If you got questions about the PPP, how you qualify, this, that, and the other, put your information in the chat blocks down below, and we'll try to answer the questions as fast as we can. We know we get tons of questions right now on this. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.